we're back with a special episode of Talking Game. I'm your host, Anthony, LT King, Yellow Tape King, Tony, whatever you call me, lets me know what I was on when you was fucking with me. And we are here with a special guest, Yes Network statistician. I hope I said that right. Julius, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yankees are on as we speak, and
Yes.
they're winning. They just took the lead. Ahmed Rosario's got 2 homers, so that's a good sign. You got it right with statistician, research assistant, same thing essentially. But everything's good, man. Just getting ready for the NBA playoffs. Baseball just started. March Madness just ended. Incredible run by Michigan. My Florida Gators really let me down, but
Okay.
but we can move on to next season. I got the ring. I'm happy with that a year ago. But other than that, it's gonna be a fun summer. We got a lot going on in the sports world coming up.
Well, as a Tar Heel fan, I have
Mm,
I feel no sympathy for you as a Gator. Okay, so
Mike Malone though.
Mike Malone
I like it. I like it.
is going to be interesting.
I like it a lot.
I'm taking the wait and see approach to Mike Malone.
That's fair, but I like
Yeah,
it a lot.
I do too. It's just see, look at you. You got me talking college, right? But see, the thing with Mike Malone is he was kind of a hard coach in Denver, right? And now with these kids in the transfer portal, I'm interested to see how that translate in college, where kids can just be like, "I don't want to be here. I'm going
Mhm.
to Michigan, Elliot Cadeau, or you know what I'm saying? I'm going to Arizona, Caleb Love. You know what I'm saying? Like they can just get pack up and leave. So I'm interested to see how that coaching style translate in college.
Yeah, absolutely fair enough. You look at that, and then you look at the resume behind him. He coached and possibly you could say the best player in the world right now. He's
Yeah,
got a ring. He's had some winning backgrounds. I'm excited for it. He's also going to have all the power. There's going to be no front office interfering, which seemed to be a little bit of an issue in Denver, which
yeah.
led to his departure. But I'm excited to see it, and I totally, with what you're saying, 100% agree. But I'm excited in terms of seeing a former NBA coach, which seemed to be the target for North Carolina there. It seemed they
Yeah,
wanted. I heard Billy Donovan was in the mix in the event that the Bulls were going to move on from him because there hasn't been much going on with him, and they gave him a new contract. Very weird. But I do like the Malone hire. Like I said, your points are very fair. I agree with you 100%. But I'm hyped to see him back coaching, and it's going to be college, so a totally different ballgame.
I'm interested to see it too. And the Bulls will keep Billy Donovan as long as he can keep them between the 12th and 16th pick in the NBA draft because
Very true.
that's just the Bulls. Let's stay in the middle, guys. Let's not be bad enough to get a top 5 pick unless it's Patrick Williams and it lands. But let's not be good enough to make the playoffs either, guys. Like, what are we doing? Let's hit our target zone here, guys.
They're a confusing organization. At least they've made trades. There was a period of time where they didn't make any trades. I think it was 4 years at the trade deadline in a row where they didn't make a single move. And they did, and it shows the direction they're going. They are moving on from what they had. So at
Yeah,
least that's a sign. The Knicks also put up 40 on them, and at one point it was 20-1. That was an actual score of the game. It was
that's
20-1. And
diabolical.
then the Knicks, I think, won at least by 40. So you're seeing that from them now, but we'll turn the page on. We'll see if that. We'll see if it works in their favor. Another draft lottery awaits for them.
Well, all right. Well, I don't want to get there yet. Let's start. Let's kind of start from the beginning. What got you covering the Nets?
Yes. So Yes Network is mainly known for the Yankees coverage. The Y standing for Yankees. And while I was, well, to begin with, I was a graduate student at Iona University, Sports Communication and Media.
Okay.
And my advisor for the program, he calls me while I'm in Tennessee. I was doing an internship in Tennessee, so I took the summer semester off to do this internship. That was my only course that summer. And he goes, "Hey, Yes Network is looking to bring in an Iona intern, and all of us on the board have nominated you."
Oh
And
wow.
that was an honor. So of course I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like whatever we can do, whatever strings you can pull, I'm all in. And I went in, had a little bit of an interview, had a shadow day, if you will, and it was incredible. And I got started in September of 2023, so the end of baseball season, the Yankees did make the playoffs, so there was also a dead period.
Oh yeah.
And I was very curious because my boss was like, "So, are you going to do this internship because you need certain hours?" I'm like, "Trust me, basketball season's on the way. We'll get it." And that was the last year Mikal Bridges was with the Nets, and same with Cam Johnson. So at least there was
A
some
solid
players on that
team.
team at that. So I got really comfortable with learning how to become a statistician, if you will, find any sort of research on statistics, storylines, and all that. I got a whole red carpet rolled for me in that. It was a great opportunity because typically some people take breaks during the basketball season since basketball coverage isn't necessarily as, I don't want to say important because I'm not trying to, shame the Brooklyn Nets and shame the network, but the Yankees are the clear
Is the
golden
Y
child.
stands for Yankees, like you said. Yeah.
Exactly. So I had a big lane, and with the timing of everything too, there was a few staff members or freelancers, I should say, that didn't come into work, and not in a bad way. They just, like I said, they weren't available. So I had a great lane and made the most of my opportunity. I learned all sorts of background, behind the scenes knowledge, and then I became on the freelance team, and I've been there since, like I said, I've been there since September of 2023 and haven't looked back.
Yeah. Real quick, Jay. He's my co-host on Wednesdays. My cousin as well. Let's go. He's a Knicks fan. Let's go Knicks. We smoked y'all by 54. Just so you know, Jay, Julius is also a Knicks fan.
I am a Knicks fan just because
But
I
the
come. So whenever the Knicks play the Nets, I am clearly like rooting for the Knicks. I'm very happy. I am laid back, chilling. Everything is the world's happy. So
he,
I was totally good with it. And when the Nets though kept it way too close, the last game they played, I was a little worried there. But
hey man, hey look, you got to pay the bills. Shout out to the Yes
yep,
Network. And as a Yankees fan, it works out, right?
exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things too, and a lot of people have asked me this question, or people have told me this. They go, so if you really want to get out of work, like let's say for right now it's a 4-3 score, bases are loaded, one out. Do you want the Yankees to walk it off? And then that completely changes the rundown of the show. You have all this other stuff. You have to scramble to find stats, and the people writing shot sheets for the on-air talent, they have to completely change their script. Or do you just want to keep everything the same and let it go? And sometimes you're like, you know what, like it's a long season. I wouldn't mind getting out of here sooner. I don't mind a lot,
Yeah.
but obviously as a fan, it's very hard to root against them losing. I can't do that personally. So that tends to happen sometimes, and a lot of people have kind of push their fandom aside, and I do that too. You got to be professional when you're on your work rounds, but yeah, people have completely pushed the fandom aside just because they've been working there longer than I have, and they're just day in and day out. They clock in, they clock out, they do their job, they go home,
Yeah.
hoping to get out of there as soon as possible.
Nah, I feel that. Look, I look at that as like I'm a parent. My kids play basketball, baseball,
Hmm.
different stuff. Hey, sometimes if we get swept early in the tournament and we go home, I'm not tripping.
Oh
What,
yeah,
I'm ready to go home. I want you to win, but a loss, I'll take it. Today I'm not tripping. Um, as a person who looks up all these different stats, all the crazy stats, and now Jay wants to welcome you to the family. What's up, family? See, Knicks fans, orange and blue skies, Stephen A.
orange and blue skies.
um, what's a stat in basketball that you like to look at that most people don't, that you feel like most people look over?
It's a good question. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you two, and they both correlate.
Okay.
Turnovers and points off turnovers.
Okay.
Now,
I,
of course, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, the turnovers, whatever. You see some guys turn the ball over 7, 8, 9 times a game. When you look at points off turnovers and you see that number stacking up into the high 20s, sometimes I've seen, I think the Nets have had a 35 and a
God
33
almighty.
point off turnover, opponent point off turnover game. And that can change the course of a game. And you watch a game from start to finish, you look back on film, I'm sure coaches do this too. This possession cost this. This possession changed the momentum. We were on an 8-0 run, then we turned the ball over here. That led them to go on a 14-2 run. There's all sorts of elements you look at when it comes to points off turnovers. To me, when I see that and whoever wins the turnover battle, especially in these so-called tank-off games,
Lord
it makes a
Jesus.
difference. It makes a difference.
All right. You being somebody who watched the Nets,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the idea of tanking? And can it be fixed? Do you think it can be fixed? I see a lot of different things going around. Do you think tanking can be fixed?
I wish I could give you that answer, but I'm not sure. I've kind of briefly looked at Adam Silver's original plans. I don't comprehend them enough to expand,
Me
but
neither.
I think it's something that's definitely going to be taken into consideration. And the one person that was very vocal during those meetings, those first meetings about the tanking, is Sean Marks, the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets, because the Brooklyn Nets own a plethora of draft picks moving forward. Over 30, I think, in the next 7 years to be exact, first and second rounders. So the Brooklyn Nets essentially have had this plan going forward, and they had 5 first round picks in the last draft. They have one coming up, which is going to be very big. Next year, they don't have a pick, but in the future, they've got plenty from the Knicks. They've got a couple from the Bucks. They got a couple from the Phoenix Suns and the Houston Rockets from the Kevin Durant trades and all the other trades that they made. And one that I actually think could be very interesting when the time comes. You got a long way to go for this one, but they have I want to say it's a 2032. It's in the 2030s first round pick from the Denver Nuggets in that Michael Porter Jr. trade. Nikola Jokic will be 36, 37 years old when that pick happens. So I wonder where the Nuggets, the Nuggets state will be when that pick comes. So there's a lot of interesting situations the Nets are about to play into. So if there's anything that gets fixed with tanking, it's going to completely flip what the Brooklyn Nets were building to do originally. And I mean, there's trades that are going to happen, and I think a big piece of it is they don't have a pick next year. So if they somehow hit on the lottery coming up with Michael Porter Jr. coming back next year,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, would they go out to either trade some of these picks for a superstar or I don't want to say a John Morant, but John Morant's enticing. Do they enter the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes? Do they go and get a center to swap with Nick Claxton maybe? There's all sorts of questions that can be asked. The free agent class this offseason is not pretty. It's not
No.
anybody that's, on the edge of your seat worth changing the franchise for. But it's not good for basketball, this tanking, because you have 10 teams in the East that are going to win 40 games.
Yeah.
And the rest of them don't care. The same goes for the West. There are 10 teams total that are going to have less than 30 wins or flirt with the 30-win mark. And that's being nice. And the Brooklyn Nets, I think, just won their 20th game tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks. There's two other teams that are worse than that, and one of them is going to be a playoff team when Tyrese Halliburton's healthy. That's the Pacers.
Yeah.
So it's not good. It's not good. And there was a really rough night on last Friday. It was really tough. You saw scores that were essentially, I think, the net point margin was 24 points. It was one of the largest.
Yeah, that
all
was
the game
crazy.
slates. It's really bad, especially when you're benching all these guys and fans are paying to come see these teams, and it's a G League show. I don't mean to ramble on that, but there's a lot of points to hit with that question because it's going to change a lot of future direction for some of these teams.
I agree, and that's why me and Jay too many picks from the Knicks, which is true. That's why when we were talking about expansion a couple weeks ago, there's no need for expansion.
That's another great point. So why would you add 2 more teams into that 10-team group that I just gave you that are also going to tank? Because they're not going to be good out of the gate, luckily.
Exactly.
If it most likely they won't be. So you want to add 2 more teams to what is looking like a clown show for your fan base? It's not good.
Yeah, and when you got teams like the Jazz saying, "Hey, once you score 20 points, Collier, you come sit your ass down because you're doing too much."
I will say, the Jazz have direction at least.
They
And
do.
if Jaren Jackson Jr. wasn't for this season, it's for their future. Keontae George took a huge step. Laurie Markkinen can score the ball just as good as anybody.
Yep.
Walker Kessler is a free agent, but he's going to be brought back. He's a restricted free agent, I believe. So
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be back. So you have Jaren Jackson and Walker Kessler down low. Ace Bailey starting to play well down the stretch. He's
Yep.
not
He
playing
played
a
pretty
lot of
well.
he's not playing a whole lot of teams necessarily because their schedule is weaker to end the year, but you're seeing him start to come around a little bit as a player.
Yeah. I had Connor on a few weeks ago, and we talked a little
Mm-hmm.
Jazz, and we said that like if there was a team that I condoned the tanking, I think it would be the Jazz because it just made sense in the moment. You know, they made
Yep.
the trade to be better for next year. Let's get this top pick. I think part of my NBA conspiracy is AJ Betances stays in Utah and goes to the Jazz, but that's just me being a conspiracy theorist.
Not a bad conspiracy. With you've seen the luck on these lotteries, you've seen
You
the
know,
conspiracies fall align in these lotteries, and when you think about this too, I was talking about this with a coworker. When you go back, let's say to the Magic Larry Bird days, we won't go too far because you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that can easily fit into this question I'm about to ask you. Off the top of your head, and you don't have to name them, but think about it to yourself. How many draft picks have you seen that are really worth tanking for? And I mean, like, desperately. Like, this guy's going to be the future. This guy's bringing so much hype. The guy that came, obviously, you have, and I'm just going to name you a couple. I'm not going to go too crazy off the
okay.
top, but like, you have Shaquille O'Neal,
Yep.
freak athlete at that time. I'm not, like I said, Magic Bird, they were in that category. LeBron James,
Yep.
Zion Williamson, because at the time in college,
Yes. Yeah.
he was
People.
going to,
Yeah.
he looks like he was going to be that guy.
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020, but if you go
Yeah,
back, yes, Zion. Sure.
I'm not saying forget their college, forget their college years or I mean their NBA careers of how they've unfolded.
Yeah.
Obviously, Victor Wembanyama with the freaking nature that he
Facts.
is,
Yeah.
there's not many.
That's
So
about it. Yeah. When you think about it,
there's a couple more I'm sure that we're missing, but there aren't
probably not.
anybody that's crazy. And
Maybe.
as much as this group is talented, this draft class is talented, I'm not dying over somebody. I'm not folding a
I
season
think.
and wasting a career of somebody's
I think one
season.
more person you can add to that would be Tim Duncan.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because Tim Duncan was ready
Yeah,
made from all for the 4 years at Wake Forest, and shout out to Tim Duncan being smart enough to be like, I'm going back to college because I'm not playing for the Clippers.
yeah.
I mean, because then we probably would never look at Tim Duncan as what he became if he goes to the Clippers. But
Yeah.
that's probably the only other person, if I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah. There's a whole thing where you just go through the number one picks and you can scroll and find somebody.
Yeah,
But that's just to name a few, and that's
yeah,
probably some of the more exciting prospects with and without social media really
yeah,
bringing these players into the spotlight. And that's I'm talking like Wemby, I'm talking, LeBron with the early technology, but he
yeah.
was not even on the social media wasn't a thing then. Shaq was a freak of nature at
Yeah.
LSU, so the
Maybe
Magic turned him
Derrick
around.
Rose. Maybe,
I mean, I guess, but
maybe
I don't know if I put him. I'm not disrespecting Rose's career. I'm just talking about
him as a prospect.
them compared to what we're naming. We're naming
Yeah, you're right.
generational talents.
You're
I'm
right.
not sure Derrick Rose. We
You're right.
saw that becoming, the youngest MVP in history. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So,
this is true. And you think about it, like the people you name, right? Like Shaq was all star, I think he was what third in MVP voting his second year, maybe his third year. You know what I'm saying? Um, LeBron was third MVP voting his second or third year. So you're right. Like, and these people proved to be as good as advertised. You know what I'm saying? Like outside of Victor Wembanyama last year having blood clots, he's probably all NBA MVP
mhm.
discussion, right? So like these guys are as good as advertised. I'm assuming you don't feel like that's coming in this draft.
so I think, like I said, I think this is a talented group. And honestly, if I wanted to have 5 first round picks, I would have rather had it this draft as opposed to last year's
Yeah.
NBA draft if I was the Brooklyn Nets, just bringing it back to topic with the team that I cover. When you look at the Brooklyn Nets' 5 first round picks this past season, At first, why are you taking 5 first-round picks when 3 of them, I mean, actually 4 of them, made G League appearances? That's number one. Number two, there was plenty on the table where you could have traded up to maybe get Jeremiah Fears. You were desperate for a point guard, so you go get Jeremiah Fears, you trade up. Or Ace Bailey sitting there at 5, and Utah is another team that is really adding picks because
Yeah.
that's what Danny Ainge loves to do. That's what he did with the Boston Celtics. So if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, wow, we have 5 first. We are willing to, put all our chips and maybe get somebody that can turn the page on this or at least bring fans to the seats. They kept all 5. And not one of them are going to make an all NBA rookie team. Which is part of the weird season that this NBA has had, not to throw this off topic, but with this group, it's almost like a spin where you could take any of these guys at one and you'll be happy with it. Are any of these guys going to completely turn a franchise right away? I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, they're going to be good. I think some of these guys like DeBansa, if Darren Peterson actually plays games in the NBA, I think he's got NBA caliber and already probably does level scoring.
Yes.
I'd like to see what Cam Boozer does. I mean, I'd like
I,
to see. I like your boy Caleb Wilson a lot. We'll see how he does coming back from the
yeah.
injury. Acuff is nice. Fleming's is nice. There's a few players that are pretty solid in that top 5, top 6, 7 range.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I know I'm gonna sound like a Duke hater. I don't think Cameron Boozer's gonna be that good of a pro.
I think Boozer will be good if he goes to the right team. And when I say the right team, I'm going to name one specifically, and that's the Indiana Pacers. He will have a role. He's going to follow that role with a bunch of players that have been to a finals, and he's not going to have a ton of pressure on him. Because the team that is going to be there next year, for the most part, is that championship team with a different center in Zubac, who is incredible. Who's
Yeah.
a walking double-double. So I think if somehow, some way, Boozer ends up on Indiana, that would be probably his best fit.
Yeah, because when I look at Boozer, I just see somebody who can bully college players,
No,
and the
that's fair.
NBA is grown ass men,
Yeah,
right?
and
So
it's a great point. And one thing I noticed, the first thing I noticed, I should say, about all 5 of these rookies, I'm not comparing Jaeger Dillman, Traore, Danny Wolf, Ben Seraph, and Drake Powell to. I'm not trying to compare all 5 of those guys to Boozer, but when I was at Nets Media Day and I saw them in my own eyes for the first time, and I'm basically right next to these guys, they're babies. They're 18, 19 years old, and they are skinny. They were very fragile looking. And that just comes with being so young.
yeah,
Like, these guys are younger than my sister, and I know my sister is just obviously is the little girl I grew up with. And they're younger than her, which is crazy to me that we're getting to that point of our lives where we're doubling in age and stuff like that of these athletes. But
yes,
they're gonna have to put on muscle. This is part of maturing into their bodies, and that's what they're still doing. Very rarely do you see a 19-year-old take over the league, and that draws back, of course, to the conversation of those first overall picks that you really wanted to tank for, that you were saved with that number 1 pick because you knew he was going to pan out right away. It's very rare to see a 19-year-old take over, a 19, 20-year-old take over the league right out of the gates. And that's a question, that's going to definitely be for the person picking first, because you have 5, 6, 7, 8 options that
yeah,
can easily be number 1 picks in any drafts.
yeah. It's gonna definitely depend on fit, because like you said, if it's the Pacers, you're not taking Darren Peterson, right? It's like
You could. They got rid of Bennett Mathurin. You could need a scorer off the bench.
you could, you could.
An extra guard won't hurt.
It won't, but Rick Carlisle dealing with somebody who pulls himself out of games it's an interesting combination. I'll say that.
Yeah. No, fair enough. No, you're not wrong on that. But, I mean, the one thing that Indiana will have to, besides with who they pick, is they're going to have to replace Benedict Mathurin on the bench because they traded him for Zubac. I'm not saying
Yeah.
Benedict Mathurin is an X factor by any means for the Indiana Pacers, but
He
kid
kind
can
of
score.
is.
Kid can score.
He kind of is an X factor for him because the way that he can get buckets, like that
Kid can
microwave
score.
kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, See, you done took me way off my notes, man. You got us just talking sports, man. I love it though. I love it. I
All
do.
right, good. I don't want to. If I'm throwing you off script, just tell me to shut up. I
No,
mean,
you're
I
good,
can
man. I'm
yap
loving
about ball
this.
all day.
I'm loving this, man. What are what's the future for the Nets though? Is it Michael Porter Jr., Claxton, and then we'll figure it out from there, or is it just stripping everything down? Is it like you cover the Yankees? You know how it is sometimes at winter meetings. We got this for sale sign up. Everybody can go. You think that's the off season for the Nets?
So the big question at the trade deadline was, what is Michael Porter Jr.'s future with the Nets? Because he played like an all-star that first half of the
He did.
season, and it was definitely a discussion: is this guy an all-star? When you have a guy like Michael Porter Jr. who's having a career year on a team that is not going to do anything this season, the number one question is he available? Is he available for trade? And the Brooklyn Nets were not going to trade him away for peanuts. They were able to get 5 first-round picks total for Mikal Bridges. So you think
Crazy.
they're going to lay low for Michael Porter Jr.? Absolutely not. So with them keeping him, that's their way of saying MPJ is in our future unless there's an offer that completely mind blows us. And that's another 5+ pick offer, or
Yeah.
maybe a young superstar, which we're not going to see. You're not going to see that from Michael Porter Jr. So he is their future, and I believe he's going to be their number one option next year in terms of scoring the basketball. The next part of that is, where do the Nets land in the lottery? And that brings us back to square one of our conversation, because it all depends there. Because a big thing that I notice is the amount of point guards that are good in this upcoming draft. When the Nets drafted not one, not two, but three of them last year, and Saraf, Yeager, and Traore. And then if you want to add Drake Powell as a guard, that's 4 guards. So they have a plethora of guards. Now, the big expectation was, let's develop these young guys. Maybe they can become serviceable role players. I think Yeager and Traore can be serviceable. I don't see them being all-stars,
Yeah.
but they have a few years of an NBA career that they can work with. So the hope is to hit on the lottery, because it doesn't matter how many picks you have. It is a mystery box on each pick you have. So
Yep.
essentially, you had 5 mystery boxes this past year. And as I mentioned before, not one of them are going to make an all rookie NBA team.
Mm, mm, mm.
So you better hope that there's progression, they build strength, they build durability to make an impact next season. That's number two. Third of all, I'm not sure Nick Claxton's future, because he is making $20 million. He's going to only be needed on a team that is desperate for a big, because when you look at centers, I'm sorry, he's in the bottom tier of them in terms of starting centers.
Yeah.
He's not up there with any of the guys you can think off the top of your head. He's digressed since his contract year. So once he got paid, he battled injuries last year. This year he was off to a great start and then completely dipped once January hit. So the center position is going to be a question. Day'Ron Sharp started off slow, picked it up incredibly until he got injured. So I think Day'Ron Sharp is somebody they would love to hold on for some time.
Tar Heel legend.
But with no pick next year, the Brooklyn Nets might pivot and try to win games next year. They might have to, because there's no choice. And now that question is, you saw them attempt this where they had a rebuild. They brought in superstar talent to Brooklyn. That failed. So then they had to restart. Do they want to walk into that trap again, or risk that happening again? But with the enticement of, hey, this is a draft capital that we have. We have an army of them. And we have some guys that are getting paid big money like Claxton. Do we want to throw these picks and some player for a player that can help us next year, because we don't have our own first round pick?
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. I got it. 4 first round picks, Claxton, and whatever other contracts for LeBron James. There you go.
It wouldn't surprise me if if they showed interest because they have what it takes to bring him in. Now, LeBron, if he becomes a free agent, if he opts out of his contract and is a free agent and says, "Hey, I'm going to join the Brooklyn Nets. You better bring some of your pals with you because you're not going to have a lot of fun if it's you and you only coming over. You might want to
No,
bring your
he's actually playing on the last year of his deal for the first time in his career. So he's a free agent for sure. Um,
he's going to have to bring some pals with him if he wants any sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Just the thought of being a Brooklyn Net, just the persuasion of becoming a Brooklyn Net. Oh, I'll come to the team, but you have to bring so and so. It's when Katie and Kyrie signed, bring DeAndre Jordan with us and we're coming. And they overpaid him. And how
they
did that turn out? Not too good. So it's going to be one of those situations if they want to bring some big name like LeBron James into the system.
Nets have the number one pick. Who you drafting?
Great question. I would draft a Bansa just because I know he'll show up every day, and that's not a knock on Darren Peterson, but you showed it in college. You're load managing in a league that's full of load managing already, so I'm not sure how that's going to look.
Yep.
And as I mentioned before, they have a plethora of guards. They drafted 4 of them. So I would like to see Debansa, and I think Debansa will bring the biggest crowd. So that's something that the Nets fans can actually enjoy coming to see.
Yeah.
I would like to see some sort of box office because sometimes Barclays Center is too empty, and it's a nice arena. It's a good arena. And
Yeah.
I've been in New York Liberty games, and when fans are actually into the game at that place, it's buzzing.
Yeah.
It's insane that the women, and I'm not throwing shade at WNBA, but the New York Liberty draw much more of a crowd than the Brooklyn Nets do right now. And I mean, the New York Liberty won a championship not too long ago.
They're winners.
They're winners. And what are you going to do as a fan when your team's winning? You're going to go to the games. You're going to bring fans to see winning players in a winning game. I would like to see that, obviously, with the Brooklyn Nets in my tenure at Yes Network. I can't make that happen on a snap of a finger, but I would say Tabansa is a great starting point, and in terms of box office, would be the most productive.
I like him. I know you said you guys drafted all those point guards last year, which is true. But I love Acuff.
He's going to be a good player.
I,
He's good. I like him too.
I like the mentality. Calipari always puts good guards in the NBA. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing. Like the lineage of Calipari clearly knows how to create an NBA point guard. So I would really like him for you guys, and he'll get Michael Porter Jr. to rock. And he's
Yeah.
somebody. I think that's the league now, right? You need that dynamic point guard. That's just what is the head of the snake. But Debantis 6'9", maybe the next Tracy McGrady. You gotta love that. Gotta love that. And wings are you never have too many wings. It's like buffaloes, man. There's never too many wild wings out there. It's never is you can always roll with that. We're gonna zoom out a little bit, talk NBA as a whole. Want to talk a couple awards with you. Um, this one wasn't on my notes for the team stuff until this weekend because it's heating up. Who you got for rookie of the year right now?
The 2 guys in mind are Cooper Flag and Con Knipple. I would
Yep,
not be surprised if either of these guys are all stars next season. I can see them both being all stars.
true.
It's very tough. I would probably lean if they're gonna put winners fatigue on it, Con's gonna win. But I think as a player, I'm giving the edge slightly to Cooper Flag. Slightly.
Look, I was Con Knipple all the way up until Sunday night, and it was because what he did the night before. When you scored 96 points in a weekend, all right, it's time to like really start thinking about this. Youngest player to ever drop 50. He's had multiple 40-point games already, and it's crazy that I'm praising 2 Duke players, but and with Cooper Flag, he's the other team's number one like assignment defensively, right? Like at least with Con Knipple, you got to worry about LaMelo Ball. Brandon Miller's gonna get buckets. Depending on the night, you might have a Miles Bridges night, and then he's gonna get his. I think that should matter too when people are talking about the voting. Um, but I like nice round numbers in sports. You do, I'm sure you do too. Like as a
Hmm.
baseball fan, and certain stuff. If Con Nipple can get to 300 3 pointers, which I don't think he will now because he kind of tailed off, but still lead the league in 3 pointers, that might be what get it for him.
Yeah, if he leads in several categories, it's basically him and Flag in just about every offensive category
Yeah,
in terms of scoring. And you also remember he had a 49-point game against Con Knipple and the Charlotte Hornets earlier in the
yeah,
season. But what did Con do in that game? 8 3 pointers.
yeah, yeah. That was the matchup, right? That was the let's see who's going to win it, and they didn't help no voter. They didn't help the
Hmm.
voters at all. Like honestly, I feel like I hate ties. I really do. I hate ties in any sport. But if there was ever a chance for a co-rookie of the year, this might be it. Like this, Cooper Flag might suffer the same fate of his coach when he was co-rookie of the year with Grant Hill. I think that we might end up being there. This last week with Cooper Flag, especially the teams they're playing, a couple tankers, he might be able to go off, drop a couple more 30-point games, 40-point, 50-point games. Who knows? If I'm Jason Kidd, let him go for 84. Why not?
Why not?
Why not,
They
man?
got nothing to play for. They're eliminated, and we're taught with just to draw it back to the lottery real quick. They might have a superstar rookie that might pair up with Cooper Flag, depending on how the lottery treats them. So imagine that as coming into the league, and Dallas has two young stars that they can go to with Kyrie Irving coming back next
With
season. So
and Derek Lively, they're
yeah,
gonna be the Dallas Blue Devils soon.
yeah,
All these
and
damn Duke players, they're gonna be the Dallas Blue Devils.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe Boozer's next. Maybe Boozer joins them.
It might be Boozer. That would be crazy. And honestly, that's another place where Boozer might be able to play to flourish too. Like him. That's the good thing about these young guys in this lottery. There's two teams that you can go to that are ready to win now. So you're not having to go through the growing pains of a 50 loss season, you know what I'm saying? 55 loss season as the number one pick. If Dallas gets lucky again, which conspiracy theories, hey, it might happen. They might need a double down for the loss of Luca, kind of how Cleveland had to get two number one picks for the loss of LeBron back in the day. Or the Pacers, right? Like those are two places that, man, a top pick can get lucky and go ready made and win, and that's kind of dope.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about you talked about the growing pains. One guy that we mentioned who's worth tanking for, Victor Wembanyama. He was on a 30-win team last year. The team got the second overall pick last year. They have 60 wins now.
Yeah,
So you never know. You just never know with this.
sneaky Spurs, man,
Sneaky
sneaky.
Spurs.
MVP. Who's your MVP right now?
Oh man, I mean it's probably going to be Shea again. Obviously, Nikola Jokic averaging a triple double is so lovely to see, and I would love. I mean, he deserves it too, but he missed plenty of games. The Denver Nuggets did hit a landslide a little bit. They're starting to play very well, which is very dangerous towards this end of the season because with them all healthy, Denver is going to be an absolute threat in the playoffs. But I'd probably give it to Shea to repeat. For a while, I had Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, Luka Doncic flirting in the talks. Cade with the collapsed lung probably leaves him
Yeah,
out of it. Luka's only played 64 games and he's out for the season. And
yeah,
he missed a couple games due to his child being born. So I wonder if the league will take that into consideration because that's what he wants. But
yeah.
I give it to Shea again. And again, Jaylen Brown for a while had me convinced because the Celtics weren't supposed to be as a 50-win team. We weren't sure if Tatum was coming back this season, but I think it goes back to Shea. They are 62-16 right now.
Crazy.
They had one loss for about a quarter of the season, and within that span, they didn't have Jalen Williams. So it just shows the amazingness of Shea Gilgis Alexander on the basketball court. And a big part of that, too, where you might see the runner-up of Defensive Player of the Year be Chet Holmgren. If it's not Victor Wembanyama, it might be Chet Holmgren to win that award. So just to see
Yeah.
what Shea's doing and putting up similar numbers to some incredible MVPs in the past, including his own records last year,
Right.
breaking Wilt's consecutive points of 20 or more. Incredible mark. And whenever you break somebody that is Wilt Chamberlain and as iconic as that in the game today, it's definitely worth considering repeating as an MVP.
Yeah, I was last week I had my friend on. We did a Sixers episode and asked the same question. And he told me Shea, and I was like, I don't know, man. Shea, I'm a Jokic guy. And he said something, and it kind of was like, you know what? Yep, he's the MVP. He basically was like, he looked up Shaq's MVP numbers, and when Shaq won the MVP, he shot 57% from the field. It's a Shaq, so we know where he's taking those shots.
Mm-hmm.
Shea Gilgeous Alexander shooting 55%.
Yep.
It's like that kind of just ruined any argument I had against Shea. It's like, you know what? Give the man the damn MVP, all right? And he's averaging more points, 32 points, right? Like 31 or something.
31.4 right
Yeah.
now. And, I mean, you could make an argument. I mean, he missed some games too this season, but his assist numbers are up just a little bit.
That's the one thing I
So
wish I
that's
got more
nice.
from Shea was more playmaking and assists.
He's got 6.5 this season. It's not bad. He's got 1.4 steals. So, I mean, he plays both sides of the ball very well, and he's leading a team that is coming off a championship and not a team that you really would expect have a target on their backs now that they're champions to, again, a number one seed, and they are going to they're going to be battle tested in the playoffs. Once again, they didn't completely dominate last playoffs. A lot
No.
of the teams took them to 7 games, but they're going to be battle tested, and I think this is where Shea has to remind the league why he's a two-time MVP, and I'm talking about repeating this season.
You know the sneaky thing about OKC, and I actually mentioned it last year when they won it, is their playoff run might be more dominant this year because I compared it to the Lakers three-peat. And oddly enough, the Lakers didn't win as many games the second year. I think Kobe was hurt a little bit, Shaq was hurt a little bit. But that's the year they went, 15-1 in the playoffs, and they only lost to Allen Iverson in that amazing game one of the finals. And them being battle tested last year, I think is really going to come in handy this year. And first of all, that first round matchup, I feel sorry for Golden State or Portland. I feel like that's probably who it's going to be. But even after that, I think their experience and their defense that they play, the way they can ratchet up their defense, I think we haven't seen OKC play their best basketball yet, and that's scary for the rest of the West and the rest of the league as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, when you look around the league, I wish the Lakers were healthy. Just as a selfish, I'd like to see how they would compete against these teams in the West. But now Doncic and Reeves possibly missing plenty of time, that robs it. The Denver Nuggets are now healthy. That's going to be interesting. The Spurs are going to get their first test in the playoffs with the core that they have. And typically, you don't see a young team flourish right away in the playoffs. There's usually growing pains and steps that they take. So, but they've had OKC's number this season. Houston hasn't been the same since the Kevin Durant, uh, the burner account scandal. Minnesota has gone cold a little bit lately. We'll see how Anthony Edwards' health is. And then you look at Phoenix, the Clippers, Portland, and Golden State. And Phoenix has a nice group. Jordan Ott is a Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
We'll see if, Dylan Brooks comes back, and if he does, healthy. That's number one.
Yeah.
The Clippers, they started off horribly, traded James Harden, had the whole Chris Paul drama, Kawhi situation, that scandal, which hasn't been solved yet. They're
Crazy.
pushing for a playoffs because of Darius Garland's emergence.
Yeah.
Matherin's doing well over there. If Kawhi stays healthy, they're a sleeper, but I don't think they're anything to be scared of. And then Portland, a good team, but again, young for the most part. I like the veteran leadership in Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Donovan Clingan's going to be a very good player.
He is.
So, and then the Golden State Warriors are healthy, but how much is left in the engine of 36, 37-year-old
Yeah.
Stephen Curry, who missed the majority of the season, and Kristaps Porzingis, who has a mystery illness, if you will.
Yeah. When I was watching Golden State the other night, Porzingis can still get buckets, but defensively, oh my God, he's such a liability
Yeah,
defensively.
it wasn't what he was when he was in New York, when he
Yeah.
was, blocking off,
Or even in Boston a couple years ago, like it's fell off a cliff. Shangun was giving him the business.
Hmm.
Um, and as a Lakers fan, let's just not talk about the Lakers right now. I so just for context, my birthday is March 31st. So such a great ride through March as a Lakers fan. Luka Doncic, Player of the Month. I'm talking junk. Oh, Luka Doncic is gonna have more Player of the Month awards than whoever wins the MVP because he already has two. And then April 1st happens, and Luka gets hurt, Austin Reeves gets hurt, and it's like, oh my God, the bottom falls out. So this is I'm just so hurt. I'm just so hurt. But last question for you. We get to end of May, early June. Who's in the finals? Which I think you already kind of told me, okay, see. But go ahead. Who you got in the finals?
I mean, I hope my New York Knicks make it,
Okay.
but who they face in round one could be a toughie with either Atlanta. That could be a tough matchup for them if they have to play the Atlanta Hawks, but they won the other night in a frenzy of a game. Philadelphia is a team you don't want to play in the first round either. I would feel very comfortable if they had to play the Raptors in the first round. That would be very
Yes, you are
comfortable
on
for myself. But I, I mean, I would love to see the Knicks in it again. Do I think they will? There's a great chance for them. I'm going to give you a biased and a non-biased matchup.
Okay.
Obviously, with my Knicks making it in the bias, I would go Knicks Thunder. Thunder probably win in five.
Okay.
Um, if they made the finals and they lost, I'm not saying I'm okay with losing, but with what I've seen as a New York Knicks fan in my 24 years of existence, like last year, I thought there was a path, and then game one happened, and then game two happened, and then game five was game four. I mean, was terrible. It was just a brutal experience to go through against Indiana, but Indiana's tortured me my whole life. Non-biased, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think the Celtics got it in the East. And I hate to do it, but Tatum is hooping. Like, he's back. And
Yeah.
it's insane when 9 months ago he tore his Achilles against the New York Knicks in the playoffs in the second round last year. But Jaylen Brown's playing at an MVP, All NBA first team caliber level. Peyton Pritchard's back on the bench, and he's been playing much better off the bench. Vucevic hasn't been playing well as a Celtic, but he's going to be back anytime soon. They're going to use him, and I'm sure he will give them buckets as well down low and also from the 3-point range. They just have a very well run organization, and if anybody can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, it could be the Boston Celtics on a great night offensively, because the one thing Boston doesn't really do, and it's their kryptonite, which happened to be exposed against the Knicks, they don't stop shooting threes. And I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you can say this about any player, any team, but they don't change their scheme, because what happened against New York is they weren't making shots from deep, and they were saying, you know what, we'll just keep letting you shoot.
Yeah.
And I think they were 25 for 100, I think, in the first two games against the Knicks last season. It was around that mark, which
Yeah.
is
It was.
atrocious.
Yeah. There's no adjustments for Boston. We play how we play.
Exactly. So I don't know what the status of Cade Cunningham is. That's a huge blow. I still don't see
Yeah.
Detroit being a championship team because there's not enough shooting. I do love the emergence of, Iona Gale in St. John's. Darius Jenkins there. He's been Dennis Jenkins. I mean, excuse me. He's been incredible. But yeah, I would probably say either Boston or New York comes out in the East. And if there's a team that's going to give the Thunder trouble, it's going to be a healthy Denver Nuggets team.
Y- Agreed. Agreed. Even though I need uh I need Jokic to dominate Caruso. Just please. All right, because we can't be having is Jokic as good as Shaq conversations or better than Shaq conversations, and somebody who's 6'5" locks you down in the game 7. Putting that out there. And I'm a Jokic fan, but come on, guys, you're 7-1. Act like it. Act like it. Yeah, the Celtics are scary. Jason Tatum came back so hot like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Whenever he came back, I had to Google, did he tear or did he rupture his Achilles? Because why is he playing so well so soon?
It's incredible what he's doing. And the crazy thing, too, I think, like, the March 23 through 29 week, he was player of the week. Like, he just came back and won
Really?
player of the week a month in. Yeah, not even a
Wow.
month after returning.
Wow.
Not a month after returning.
Yeah.
In that span, over 25 points a game, nearly 10 rebounds a game, and over 6.5 assists in that span where he won player of the week. So it just shows you that he is back, and Boston is right back into the threat of letting the people know that last season's second round exit was indeed a fluke. And again, as a Knicks fan, I still can't believe it happened. Nothing could prepare me more than that. But it was incredible. And I don't even hate the Celtics.
I
Like, they're
do.
one of the reasons why I get it as a Lakers fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the teams that helped me fall in love with basketball in general and sports in general. Like, growing up and seeing Garnett and Pierce and Allen and Rondo, as well as, your Lakers in that era with Kobe and Powell
Yeah.
and Derek Fisher and Odom. Like, that was my introduction to basketball. So there's like I'm not a I'm not a big hatred Boston. So, like, I hate the Pacers more. I hate the Hawks more.
I hear that.
I
I
hate several teams more than I do Boston, which is kind of weird to think about.
Yeah, I think Jay he's left us, but he says the same thing. Pacers, Sixers, Heat.
Sixers is another one. Yeah, can't stand the Sixers. That
Pacers,
one's a
Sixers,
tough one.
Heat. He hates all three of
Heat,
those teams.
Heat, same way. Yep.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'm gonna have my boy Rainey on a talk Heat. I'm gonna send you the link for that so you can comment and give him hell the whole time. So you can give him hell the whole time, man. All right, man. We're gonna wrap this up, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time. Definitely will have to do this again soon. Let everybody know
Absolutely.
where they can find you and the content that you're putting out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lux Out Sports. It's all Lux Out, one word. LUXOUT Sports. That's Lux Out Sports on Instagram and TikTok. We have 14.8 thousand followers on TikTok. Instagram, same deal. Working on all types of sports content, whether it is analysis, breakdowns, stats that I find that I like to share with the people. Also, memes. We like to have a lot of fun as well. So there's plenty of memes on the pages as well. So check it out there.
Hey, man. Good stuff. He always has great. You have $15 build a team posts going. Uh,
Yeah. We
I
have a lot
love.
of lives as well. That gains a lot of the following as well.
Yeah, so
The
those are
lives
all
do numbers.
okay. So I'm gonna have to steal some of your juice. I got to start doing the lives, man. I
Do
gotta
it. It
gotta.
helps.
Yeah, man. So we're talking game. Y'all see it's a busy week. Tomorrow we do Knicks, maybe Heat. I don't know. There's a lot going on. Then we got Dallas Mavs talk on Thursday. We got Cavaliers talk on Sunday, and y'all know we also got two Raw for SmackDown. We covered WWE this weekend. It's the road to WrestleMania, so y'all make sure y'all check all that stuff out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Send this to somebody who likes sports because I'm sure they'll like this. And yeah, man, it's been Talking Game.